They say there's no place like home, and honestly, Arkansas probably wants to get back to Fayetteville following their double overtime 39-31 loss to Oklahoma State. Here's the good news. There's a lot of positivity coming in from this offense headlined by Petrino and Taylon Green. Here's the bad news. When you shoot yourself in the foot, you allow other teams that are lesser tier than you to hang around, which might be the case in the home opener against the UAB Blazers. What's going on, SEC Unfiltered? He's Dave Shumate. I'm Cole Thompson, breaking down everything you need to know heading into Saturday's game at Razorback Stadium as the Blazers come from Birmingham to take on the Razorbacks. And real quickly, make sure that you hit the subscribe button down below because this is your new home for all things SEC. Download the podcast version of the show wherever you get your podcast listening systems. Hit the ring notification. That way you don't miss a single episode, preview, post-game reaction show on this channel. Make sure that you're following us on the social channels as well at SEC Unfiltered. We're everywhere. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And make sure that you follow Dave on Twitter at Mock10Sports, me on Twitter at Mr. Cole Thompson. Plus, check out all of our great work found at secunfiltered.com. This episode is brought to you by RHOBACK. Look good, feel good this upcoming fall with the promo code SECU for 20% off all polos, hoodies, shorts, game day attire, much, much more. You want to look dressed to the nine on game days? Do so with the RHOBACK.com promo code SECU. Tell them the fine folks at SEC Unfiltered sent you. Dave, once again, we have made this clear on the reaction show. We have made this clear on Sunday Funday. We believe that Arkansas played the better game. When you look at the stat line of this performance, you feel like Arkansas is the better team compared to Oklahoma State. But when you fundamentally make as many miscues in the second half, you allow opponents to hang around. And the last thing you want to do after starting off 1-1, when really you should be 2-0, is allow a Trent Dilfer-led Blazers roster to hang around a little bit too close for comfort in this matchup.
Yeah, I agree. So we were talking about it all fair. I mean, a big game in 2 weeks when they go a week and a half when they go to Jordan-Hare and they face the Auburn Tigers. It's a big game for both teams. Don't want to be looking ahead there. You're right. I was actually somewhat impressed with Arkansas, especially their first half performance. But again, everything and anything that could go wrong in the second half, a lot of self-inflicted wounds happen, end up getting beat. You're on the road. You start committing turnovers, some key fourth down penalties, couldn't get off the field defensively when you needed to. I think some coaching decisions why Sam Pittman did not kick the field is a little bit of a panic after Isaiah Satina fumbled the punt. They go score, they tie it. You had a decent drive, 4th and 3 to 4. You're right at field goal range, and you just go for it, and you don't get. It's like go up 3, man, with 6 minutes left. We talked about that on my live show yesterday, where it was won, where it was lost. That was one of the loss. That's where Arkansas lost it. You could go back many of plays in the second half, but I think that was one where Sam panicked a little bit. But I think this week, hey, guys, you got to be positive around the building. Hey, guys, we actually didn't play bad. We didn't go get embarrassed. This wasn't like Kentucky versus South Carolina. We don't really have a lot to hang our hat on. Guys, we put up a lot of yards. We played well on defense in the first half. We shot ourselves in the foot in the second half. We clean up the penalties, get better. We were -2 in the turnover margin last week, 3-1. If we can clean that stuff up, keep working on ourselves. Taylon gets more comfortable in this Bobby Petrino offense. Defense, hey, let's just get out of here with injuries. You can't just roll the balls out against teams like this, but you got to go handle business. But hey, let's get some depth, guys. I think that's what you kind of grow on this week is let's develop some depth. We're about to get in the SEC play. UAB's not great. ULM just hammered them. This is a game to get better. And you talked about a lot, what do you want to see in these kind of weak games in week 1? Let's get some operational stuff out of the way. Let's get back to what we're doing. Let's don't commit the dumb penalties that could ultimately cost us here once we get into conference play. That's what I want to see. Because, again, I think you could take a lot. You go back and watch that film. I know they did. Travis Williams, Bobby Petrino, obviously. They're taking a lot of good stuff. Now, you can go a lot of teach tape what they could work on, but nothing to hang your hat on. Was it a game you wanted to have? Yeah, I think it just makes next week at Auburn that more important. Just that more important. But again, I think they're better than they at any point they were last year from top to bottom. They did.
Honestly, when you just talk about this game, and we won't spend too much time, it's just sad because if you look at the stat lines and everything is in favor of Arkansas, you win in first downs, you win on third down attempts, you win with total yards, 416 passing yards. Jaquindon Jackson looks like the Doak Walker Award winner against the actual Doak Walker Award winner. But again, when you allow yourself to have fundamentally flawed penalties and also just bad miscommunications and you shoot yourself in the foot, it allows teams, especially ones that have the gusto and kind of enigma that are led by Mike Gundy, to stick around. Like you said, here's the good news. UAB is not in the right pecking order right now. They're coming off a 32-6 loss to UL Monroe. Jacob Zeno did not have his best day, 5.2 yards per play, 2.6 yards on the ground. They had nothing through the air, one major interception. General Booty actually didn't look great either, but the ground game did for the Warhawks. So you feel like that when you take away those minor things, those little details that ended up being a problem at Boone's Pickens, and now you're at home. Now you're at Razorback Stadium. Now you're with your home crowd behind you, and they're in their own backyard. Maybe things play a little bit better. But let's talk a little bit about Taylor Green. I think it's really important that this is a get-right game for him with the minor things. Because, again, he's basically like watching a Bo Jackson on Tech Mountain. Like, that's what he plays like. It's so much fun. Buying the ticket to get into the stadium, whether it be in Fayetteville, whether it be in Arlington, whether it be in College Station, in Austin, it's worth the price of admission just to watch Taylor Green be able to work behind that line of scrimmage. He's exciting. But the problem with being exciting is sometimes it leads to erraticness. And for me, this game is where I want to see cohesive completions, comfortability in the pocket, some mobility. Definitely you don't want to hinder that from his success because that's a major element to his game. But you want to make sure that you're playing clean, crisp football because the last thing you want to do is play bad performance in this game and then you start conference play on the road in Jordan-Hare Stadium, and we all know what that atmosphere is like.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the big penalties, not getting the running back on the right side of the formation. You're not getting the slide protection right. It's not the big plays. We saw that. The big plays with Taylor Green, they're going to be there all year with him. I mean, like you said, he's an exciting brand to watch. Just like the guy, he's must-watch TV every week if you're a big SEC football fan and a college football fan in general, because he's probably going to do something special, make a big play outside the pocket, etc. But I think the key if you're Bobby Petrino and his offensive staff is, hey, we got to get our guys on the same page, communicating. It's not just, hey, we can't bank on Taylor bailing us out on 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15 consistent. How about we not get that false start penalty to push us back to 3rd and 12 and 3rd and 15? Let's be in manageable situations. Running back, Rashad Dubinion, anybody. Like, that's who messed up, I think, the last play. I think that last one, wasn't it? That's who I think one of those penalties he had without having to go back and look it up. But I think it's just getting the right things, the little things down from that schematic system that you're just like, dude, if they just did one of those things right in the second half, they probably win the football game. And Jaquindon Jackson, I mean, like you said, he outrushed Ollie Gordon. He was exhausted at the end of the game. It's just, you just got yourself beat. Tough pill to swallow, but positives are like we talked about earlier. I mean, you get home for the first time in Fayetteville, get to host your home crowd, and then you get to get right. Hopefully you don't have any injuries and you're heading into a conference game, a very winnable conference game on the road. But again, on the road, it's tough to win road football games in college football, especially in the league, especially in the SEC, especially at Jordan-Hare. You're going to want to iron those kinks out this week before you go take the show on the road again.
I think the one thing that we can also take away is that there is a safety net. There is that X factor wide receiver for Taylor Green, and it's Andrew Armstrong. He looked phenomenal in that game. 10 catches, 100.
He had a hamstring issue, so he wasn't even 100%.
And that's the crazy part is that imagine if he had played against Pine Bluff, what would his numbers be going into week 3? You see that comfortability. You also get a healthy Luke Haas, who might be the best tight end in the SEC this year simply because of not only is he fully healthy, but he also is just a Mack truck in the open space. He's got that great speed. So you add that element in. The passing attack, I think, is going to be potent. The running attack is really, I think, the focal point that you want to establish moving forward because you do have two guys. It's not just Taylor Green's legs. It's Jaquindon Jackson's power. This is a guy that when he came on in, I did not think I would be talking about him more so than Rocket Sanders departing. I thought there was going to be a major drop-off because remember back in 2022, one of the big blessings for Sam Pittman's squad was regardless of KJ Jefferson's accuracy, you could always trust that you had Rocket Sanders ready to blast off. And now Jaquindon Jackson's got that open field speed. He also has that elusiveness and that sheer power. The play that we all thought was a fumble that ended up not being a fumble and they ended up scoring on it. The big thing about that was he was not afraid of contact. He likes that physical approach. He is not afraid to lower the shoulder and pile drive you back if it means he's going to get 2 more extra yards rather than a gain of 8. If he can see that first down marker, he is going to attack it. And I think that's something that you really want to establish in this game is the ability to win on both levels of the field. Deep shots, middle of the field accuracy. But if you need to just trust your running back because Taylor Green is a little bit too erratic, you watch him throw into double coverage, it maybe is too much of an errant overshot throw, You can trust your go-to. It is the ground game. It is Jaquindon Jackson. He has looked phenomenal so far. That is my biggest winner in SEC play of guys that have just kind of flown under the radar when we talk about players overall.
Yeah, no, I agree. Jaquindon Jackson came on pretty strong. I mean, he was talking about, hey, what if he is the guy that outrushed Ollie Gordon last weekend, and he definitely did. But yeah, I mean, you know me, I'm a big running back depth guy. I think that's something they could probably help this week because you don't want. I mean, Jaquindon Jackson had I got the box score, but how many carries did he have last week?
I think he had 24, 25.
Yeah, shit. I mean, you don't want him having that again right before he gets into conference play. So that would. You got to develop someone else behind him, like we've mentioned multiple times. You got to develop somebody. Rodney Hill could be another guy. Like I said, Davinian, maybe Braylon Russell, the freshman. But hopefully, you get out ahead. Where hey, Jaquindon, we're gonna get you on the sideline, get you in the ice bath, let you cool down. I mean, you took a lot of carries last week. We're gonna need you. We're gonna need you next week against Auburn. Then we're gonna need you against Texas A&M as well. So especially as we start getting to the meat of the game. So developing some of that depth, the depth that's going to have to contribute.
I think the other part that's really going to be important is not just playing a clean football game without the turnovers, but it's also the penalty aspect.
Correct.
How many times did we watch, especially in the fourth quarter, the secondary give up a pass interference call? They allowed 15 more yards, putting a team like Oklahoma State in favorable position where they were able to capitalize, whether it was Ollie Gordon, whether it was a quick strike in the passing attack, whatever it may be, Rashad Owens. I mean, there's definitely talent. You won't see that in this game against UAB. But the point is that you never want to look ahead. But when you look ahead, the most improved unit of the entire offseason in the SEC resides down in Auburn, Alabama. It's the wide receiver corps. Nobody got better than what you saw there. And you can already say that guys like Perry Thompson, Malcolm Simmons, definitely Cam Coleman are going to be, if not at the same level as Rashad Owens and Brennan Presley, just a hair below them. So you want to play a clean game because of the last thing you want to do when you go play already in an environment that is toxic, that is known for living up to expectations and marquee matchups, is have a bad performance against the UAB Blazers wide receiver corps, which last week really did struggle. Last week really did have a hard time getting off the line of scrimmage and creating separation against a brand new version of a Warhawk defense. So that to me is the one thing I'm looking at. Can you not give up the explosive plays? That's one thing. But can you also play clean, consistent football through the passing attack in your secondary? Because the last thing you want to do is just give them free yards like you did against Oklahoma State in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, no. Yeah, so the game, they need to just work out some kinks. Not overly too worried about the result. I don't think they probably are either, but just iron out your depth, iron out, like you said, the procedural snap penalties, everybody getting lined up, being on the same page from a communication standpoint. So I think they are going to put up yards. I mean, how many teams lose a game putting up 650 yards of offense? I know it was like 642, 648, but man, geez, 650 yards and you lose the football game. That's baffling. I don't think that would happen again.
It doesn't happen. It shouldn't happen. Let's go ahead and lock in our predictions. Dave, kickoff is scheduled at 3:15. Razorback Stadium. Game will be televised on SEC Network. This may be one of our post-game shows. Who's to say? Line set at 24.5. I'll take this one first. I think when you see the positives of that game against Oklahoma State, an Oklahoma State team that, let's just call a spade, they're very well coached. They're very well prepared. You don't want to let them hang around too long, and it's not just against SEC competition. It's against anybody. They can find a way to beat you at your own game. You saw it a couple times in the Big 12 over the last few years. You like what you see from Taylon Green and the vertical passing attack. You like what you see from Jaquindon Jackson on the ground. You like what you saw from your front seven being able to take away the run game and forcing a quarterback that doesn't have the same skill set like an Alan Bowman that you will see in SEC, make it a one-dimensional. And a lot of turnovers, a lot of 3-and-outs, a lot of positivity. I think that you will see one major explosive play from UAB. I have to do this. Yeah. I have to until I see it fully on display, and it's not against a team like UAPB. I got to believe that you will allow one explosive play. That doesn't mean you can't counteract it with a big-time shot down the field to Andrew Armstrong, with the shot to Hawgs, with somebody getting open and creating that separation. I think that you will see backups play in the fourth quarter. I think that you will see that clear distinction of finding that second gear. I think that you will see this offense really kind of take that next step forward before you go play against an Auburn team that right now is kind of struggling. It doesn't have a sense of direction on offense. And To me, this feels like a game that you could probably actually utilize to catapult yourself into that winning mentality when you go travel down to Jordan-Hare Stadium. So I like this for Arkansas. I think playing in front of the home crowd is going to be a massive dub. I'm going to go ahead and say that they lock this one in 45-10 final score. You will watch as the fourth quarter comes around, and you will see Taylor Green and Jaquindon Jackson get that nice long recovery before they have to start SEC play.
Yeah, I'm going to go 44-17. We're not too far off. When I go back and watch this game, it'll probably be on the background of TV, depending on what else kind of going on. But definitely we'll go back and watch it. But just, again, I just want to see the penalties. It's just like, let's limit the penalties. God, I hope there's not a lot of turnovers. So I feel like I don't have to say that. Like you said, let's just, hey, you want to go finish this game in the second half, middle of the third quarter. Let's start getting our depth, some reps. We got to start getting ready to be 1-0 in conference play next week. That should be the mindset of Arkansas probably as they're heading into the fourth quarter. You don't want this game being in the fourth quarter after an emotional, physical, double overtime game against Oklahoma State the week before. You don't want to have to be fighting against UAB for your fourth quarter at that point again. And at this point for Arkansas, they're struggling to win close games and close it out. So you don't really want that at any point. Got to go get ready. Let's go get ready for an Auburn team that's kind of back in their corner. They're going to be wanting to win next week. We're going to be needing to win, I think, each week now in the SEC. We got A&M Florida this week. There's games every week. I feel like somebody's going to feel really bad about their season leaving that stadium. It was Kentucky last week after they lost to South Carolina. I think that game next week is going to be Auburn, Arkansas. If you're an Arkansas fan, you're going to be wanting to enjoy a cold one at the start of the fourth. You're hoping Sam Pittman has a cold beer, as he likes to say in the locker room after this game, right after the press conference. You're hoping there's no drama. There's no drama, but I don't think there will be. I think it'll be 44-17. I think Arkansas will be getting their competitive depth. Some reps in the fourth quarter.
Dave, what kind of beer are you giving Sam Pittman after a win like this?
Well, it's starting to become fall. I forget to go a little more winterish for me to get the Guinness. I don't really know if he's a big Guinness guy. I feel like he's a big Coors Light guy.
I was gonna say, give him a Coors. Give him
the Rockies there, Cole.
No, don't give him a Coors Light. Give him a Coors, the banquet beer.
Cold beer.
You celebrate like a champion. And you have a feast afterwards. But you do have star power. I think the star power does show up. Dave agrees with you, but let us know in the comment section down below. What do you think is the final score between the UAB Blazers and the Arkansas Razorbacks? Like, rate, review, subscribe. Make sure that you're following us on all the social channels, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at SEC Unfiltered. Download the podcast version of the show wherever you get your podcast listening systems. Follow Dave on Twitter at Mock10 Sports. Follow me on Twitter at Mr. Cole Thompson. And to check out all of our great work, make sure you visit SECUnfiltered.com. For Dave Shumate, I'm Cole Thompson. Whoop Pig, Arkansas. See ya.